Russia encompasses 1/8 of the Earth's land area, including the largest living forest on the planet. The effects of Russia's environmental problems, therefore, have global repercussions. However, Vladimir Putin and his government continue to pursue a highly hypocritical environmental policy. In rhetoric and on camera, they masquerade as nature lovers. But in reality, Putin and his buddies love only luxury and money, tons and tons of it. This is Andrey Rudomakha, judo sparring partner and old friend of Vladimir Putin. His fortune is estimated at $2.9 billion. This is eco-activist Yevgenia Cherykova and the editor-in-chief of a local independent newspaper, Mikhail Beketov. Since 2007, they fought against Putin's longtime confidant Rotenberg to preserve the Himki forest. The forest was being cleared to accommodate a toll route between Moscow and St. Petersburg by a company closely associated with Rotenberg. In 2008, Beketov was beaten into a coma. Doctors had to amputate his right leg and 3 fingers on his left hand. He was seriously disabled and died 4.5 years later. The attackers were never found, or rather, the police didn't bother to look for them. The Rotenberg Highway was later opened in 2014. In 2015, Cherykova was forced to leave Russia after pressure from the authorities and threats to take away her children. In February 2021, during an interview with the pro-Kremlin Telegram channel, Andrey Rudomakha confessed that he was the beneficiary of a property, allegedly a proposed apartment hotel. "I am the beneficiary. There was a rather complicated facility, there were a lot of creditors, and I managed to become the beneficiary. This is a real find. The place is gorgeous. We want to build an apartment hotel there." The site turned out to be a luxurious mansion near Gelendzhik, which, thanks to investigations by Alexei Navalny, is known around the world as Putin's Palace. This is Andrey Rudomakha, the coordinator of Ecological in the North Caucasus, and perhaps the most famous Russian eco-activist in the world. Rudomakha has been detained dozens of times, sentenced to multiple administrative arrests, and been criminally charged. Putin's Ministry of Justice had Ecological registered as a foreign agent. In 2017, Rudomakha was severely beaten after he and other activists tried to photograph illegal construction in a conservation area near Gelendzhik. That same spot is now home to Putin's $100 billion palace, featuring an aquadisco, 16-story bunker built into the rock, and an underground ice rink, all surrounded by vineyards and FSB agents. In the credits of his film, Navalny thanked Ecological for their help in preparing his investigation. Meanwhile, the investigation into Rudomakha's physical assault ceased, although we know his 3 attackers were driven away from the scene in a police car. In Putin's Russia, authorities are silent about the causes and scale of environmental disasters. For example, there is still no reliable explanation for the mass death of wildlife on the coast of Kamchatka last autumn, nor why surfers in the area were subject to chemical burns. Environmentalists immediately claimed that the ocean could have been poisoned by toxic runoff from the Defense Ministry's landfill, but authorities denied any wrongdoing. Officials also tried to hide an ecologically disastrous spill of more than 20,000 tons of diesel fuel in the Russian Arctic by Norilsk Nickel in late May 2020. Vladimir Putin, the company's owner and one of Putin's wallets, walked free, while various scapegoats ended up in court. Norilsk Nickel was ultimately fined only $2 billion for the incident. Russia ranks 4th in carbon emissions after China, the United States, and the European Union. Greenhouse gases are the leading cause of global warming. The goal of the 2015 Paris Agreement was to reduce carbon dioxide emissions and avoid a 2 degrees Celsius rise in global temperature. At the current rate, our planet will warm 1.5 degrees Celsius by 2030. In typically hypocritical fashion, the Kremlin signed the Paris Agreement while including new terms, effectively nullifying any requirement for action. The emission limit was set to 30% below 1990 levels, coinciding with the collapse of the Soviet Union. Since then, Russian emissions have never returned to that level. According to official figures, Russia produced 52% fewer emissions right before the agreement was adopted. This means Russia technically fulfilled the terms of the deal with no action required and could even increase its emissions. Another audaciously titled Kremlin document, on the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, ostensibly designed to reduce emissions, merely obliges companies to keep paper records and does not penalize them for violations in any way. The decree amounts to more paperwork and does nothing to reduce greenhouse emissions. Why would you take care of the environment, fight global warming, and force factories to reduce emissions if your buddies own these factories? And how, at the climate summit convened by US President Joe Biden, could one act so openly uninterested, yet attempt to portray concern? Our discussion today shows how deeply we all feel about climate change. When listening to the Russian dictator's hollow statements, one must remember the truth. In Putin's Russia, eco-activists are attacked, prosecuted, beaten, declared foreign agents, imprisoned, and even killed. The truth is that Putin only cares about environmental issues if eco-activist protests prevent his dear friends from earning money. He's only interested if they impede his use of taxpayer money to turn the Sochi Tropical Reserve into the most expensive Winter Olympics in history, or they interfere with the misappropriation of state-owned company funds to build a monstrous palace near Gelendzhik with a 16-story underground bunker. While Biden promises to lead the world to address the climate emergency, Russian authorities cynically manipulate facts, persecute activists, and keep silent about environmental disasters. Authoritarian rulers are rarely interested in long-term problems. They use all their strength to maintain power and unlimited personal enrichment without worrying about the fate of future generations. If Russia and our planet at large go up in flames, Putin won't help put it out. He wants it to heat up so he can warm his hands by the fire.